afraid of the dark? Are you scared?
Hello and welcome to the Surrey Supernatural YouTube channel. My name is Graham and I run the Surrey Supernatural Facebook group. And today I will tell you about the history of witchcraft in Surrey. Back in 1484, Pope Innocent VIII renounced witchcraft as a heresy, and it was not until the year 1542 that Britain made it a capital offence to practice witchcraft. This act was then repealed only 5 years later, and then in 1562 a new Witchcraft Act was then reintroduced, which stated that a death sentence was to be used only for anyone causing harm to an individual. Any other offence was only given imprisonment. In 1604 an act was passed to make an offence for anyone to invoke evil spirits or to commune with familiar spirits. Familiars were said to inhabit the bodies of animals, so in some extreme cases a loved family pet could in fact condemn you to being a witch. The acts that were passed in both 1562 and 1604 transferred the trial from witches from the church to a normal court, and the punishment for this was normally to be hung, where in the rest of Europe the normal punishment was to be burned at the stake. Both men and women could both be tried as witches. The skeptic of witchcraft, Reginald Scott, wrote in his book The Discovery of Witchcraft that those of note were found guilty were normally the old, lame, bleary-eyed and pale people. Yet allegations of people could be seen as a run of bad luck for an individual or community, such as the death of a person or cattle. During the reign of Elizabeth I, 30 witches were actually tried at the Surrey Assizes. These included Eden Wolseley, a spinster of Ewell. She was charged on the 4th of July 1564 for the crime of murdering by witchcraft a girl called Elizabeth, the daughter of Robert Bye. Unfortunately, she was the only one to be hung. The others were in fact found not to be guilty. During the reign of James I and his interest in witchcraft, during which he wrote the book Demonology, records show that only one person was brought before the Surrey Assizes. The outcome of this is unknown. It is possible, however, that more people may have been tried before lesser courts, but the records from this time have unfortunately not survived. In 1736, Parliament repealed the laws against witchcraft, and the punishments were now imprisonment for people who claimed they could use magical powers. This act was repealed again in 1951 by the Fraudulent Mediums Act, which was again repealed in 2008. Here are some examples of the people tried for witchcraft around the Surrey area. The parish register of Godalming records the burial of a Richard Charman on the 5th of August 1583, and Agnes Stevens, also of Godalming, was charged with his murder at the Surrey Assizes on the 12th of July 1585. The charge that she faced stated on the 21st of June 1583 she bewitched Mr. Charman, and he lingered till the 20th of June when he then died. Another victim of hers, a Catherine Hammond, is also shown in the church register. Agnes Stevens was found guilty and remanded after sentence. She was also alleged to have murdered a 6-year-old girl called Margaret Roker. However, no records can be found of this. This was not the first time Agnes had actually been tried for witchcraft. On the 26th of July 1582 she was charged with bewitching cattle belonging to Robert Boucher and Thomas Allen. Agnes actually pleaded guilty to this charge, but was pardoned at the same time. 3 other witches were also tried. The witches Elizabeth and Joan Cox, and also a Joanne Page, were all found not guilty of witchcraft. In the 17th century, a Joan Butts was accused of bewitching a woman called Elizabeth Burgess from Ewell, when she refused to give her an old pair of gloves, and sent her away with some unkind words. Butts was to return to see Elizabeth at a later date to ask for a pin, which Elizabeth gladly gave her. 2 weeks later a storm blew up, and Elizabeth was struck in the back by a stone. This then caused Elizabeth to be confined to her bed and to suffer pains like pins pricking her back. Joan Butts was the suspect for this rather strange event, as she was described by people as a woman of ill repute and had been suspected for a while of being a witch. Now for the tale of a famous Surrey witch. Situated in a hill close to Farnham, there is a cave which is rumoured to belong to a white witch called Mother Ludlam. There was a legend that people could go to the cave, and if they stood on a rock at the entrance of the cave, they could ask Mother Ludlam to borrow utensils from her. Mother Ludlam would happily lend them out with the proviso that would return within 2 days. One day a gentleman appeared at the entrance of the cave and asked Mother Ludlam to borrow a cauldron. Mother Ludlam wasn't happy about this, as this was a personal possession, but she agreed with the normal rule that it must be returned within 2 days. 2 days went past and the cauldron wasn't returned. Mother Ludlam was furious and went searching for the gentleman. Whether it was a genuine mistake and the gentleman had forgot to return it, no one knows. But when he heard that Mother Ludlam was furious and after him, he ran with the cauldron and hid in Frensham Church, and this is where the cauldron remains to this day. The other rumour is that the gentleman was in fact the devil who wanted to steal the cauldron. Mother Ludlam recognised it was the devil from the hoof prints in the sand. The devil snatched the cauldron and ran with Mother Ludlam in pursuit. The devil was bounding along in great leaps, and this is how 3 hillsides in the area have become known as the Devil's Jumps. Mother Ludlam then decided to put the cauldron in Frensham Church to stop the devil trying to steal it again. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I will see you again. Stay safe and bye paranormal peeps.